All right, everybody. Thank you so much for attending the Santa Rosa Safe Routes to School Task Force meeting for the month of May. We are at the Santa Rosa City School District office. People might drift in, and if they do, we can have them introduce themselves, but let's just get started with some introductions of who's in the room right now. I'm Christina Panza, and I am the Safe Routes to School Director for Sonoma County via the Sonoma County Transportation Authority, and my employer is the Sonoma County Bicycle Coalition. We'll go this way.
I am Patty Turner, and I'm one of the directors for school safety at the district.
And Sarah Hadler, Safe Routes to School Coordinator, Sonoma County Bicycle.
And we'll go to the Zoom. How about Rob, introduce yourself?
I'm Rob Sprinkle, Deputy Director for Traffic Engineering and Transportation and Public Works.
And Lynn, why don't you introduce yourself? Thank you for being here today.
Hello, I'm Lynn. I'm a parent at Hidden Valley. I have 3 kids, 33-year-old, 31-year-old, and 11-year-old. So.
And Summer?
Summer Gloeckner, Traffic Sergeant with the Police Department.
Okay, so we may have a shorter meeting today if we don't have a lot of participants from the schools, because we wanted to have an opportunity for schools to share some of their successes and areas of improvement. But if that doesn't happen, we'll have a shorter meeting. I want to share a Safe Routes to School program update. I've got a lot to share. And then the city of Santa Rosa, Rob Sprinkle is going to do an update on what's going on with the projects in the city that impact Safe Routes to School. Summer, you'll have an opportunity to share information about what the police department has been doing in relation to Safe Routes to School. And then again, if we've got some participation today from schools, then we will have them share about some of their individual successes or challenges. And then one of the big things I want to be able to accomplish today, or at least to share our plans today, is just scheduling for next year. We've learned a lot this year with our pilot task force, and we have a plan for next year. And I kind of wanted to get everyone who is here at least feedback or buy-in on that. So I'll share my screen for the Safe Routes update, and then we'll go from there. So a second, there we go. Subtitles. All right, so for those of you, most of you know this already, but I'm just going to share it for the record in case anyone is viewing this meeting later on the line. The goals of the Safe Routes program are to encourage more students and families to walk and bike and scoot and skate for transportation, and to teach kids and families how to be safe while they're doing it. Also to identify barriers to active transportation and engineering improvements that should be made to, take away those barriers. And finally, to connect the community and make them more aware of the benefits of Safe Routes to their health and the environment and to each other. And the reason we have these goals is because transportation, 60% of the greenhouse gas emissions are the result of transportation, a large part of which is single family vehicles and cars. So we would like to see less cars on the road, more people walking and biking to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And then also because it's healthy, 1 mile of walking every day is 2/3 of the daily recommended 60 minutes of physical activity. And far fewer kids are getting that exercise and also walking to school these days than in the past. So we just want to encourage as much of that healthy behavior as possible. And our goal with our program is to really get families to consider fitting biking and walking into their daily routines, to school, obviously, but also to anywhere. In our Safe Routes program, we promote walk and roll to school or anywhere. So that could be the post office, or the grocery store, the ice cream store, the library, or the park, or anywhere. So we really want kids and families and parents out there walking and biking for transportation. And then a slide that I shared last time that I just want to kind of have a shared vision with everybody in the task force is that there are really 3 P's for change that will actually result in more families walking and biking. Part of that P, the very top of the triangle, are programs, and that's a lot of what we do with our education programs and our encouragement programs, and they're kind of the easiest to implement of, to get to result in change, but also maybe they have an impact, but like maybe not as much of an impact as physical projects, like putting in bicycle lanes to make it more comfortable for people to walk and bike, and putting, improving crossings and having more bike racks, and all of those things have a bigger impact. And then also policies like where schools are cited, or different kinds of practices, like policies of having, budget dedicated to buses, or to maybe even having safe routes coordinators at schools, budgets and policies about having that, so that it's really institutionalized at the school level. So those are the 3 Ps for change. And all of those Ps work together, and that's why it's so important to have a task force where we are connecting our programs and our projects and our policies with the districts and the schools and the program, our provider, and also the city. That's why we have this anchor of the task force. So I want to share a little bit about what we're doing the month of May. Tomorrow, we're having an open house honoring the winners of our Walk and Roll for Our Hearts art contest, who are going to be featured in our 24-25 calendar. And it's at Juilliard Park from 3:30 to 5 p.m. Patty, you're welcome to come by. We're going to have treats. Lynn, I know you're going to be there because your daughter is actually one of the winners of this little picture down here on the right bottom. And it's just like every year we have this challenge. It's an art contest. We're trying to raise awareness about, the benefits of walking and biking. So we ask kids to draw a picture of why they love to walk and roll. And we just had such beautiful pictures this year. Every year there's a calendar that is produced. I actually want to have them in my car, so I will give you a calendar before we leave. I'll run and get that for you, Patty. And it's a 15-month calendar, June to August, and that is happening this month, that we're getting those out. And tomorrow, come by, Rob, if you want to come by and have a cookie, get a calendar at Juilliard Park between 3:30 and 5 tomorrow. And you too, Summer. This is a really cute one. I loved it because it's a kindergartner from Sequoia Elementary School did this one. And we were super busy in May. We were all over the place. This is just where we were in Santa Rosa in the month of May. We did bike safety assembly at Monroe. I'm not going to read through all of these, but we had bike rodeos at several schools. We did our Monroe Elementary walk audit. We had bike to school day on May 8th. We had on bike education at middle school. We were at the bike block party downtown. Just so many schools, so many places where we're doing education, we're doing encouragement. And this again is just Santa Rosa. We're also in Petaluma, Sebastopol, Sonoma, Windsor, Healdsburg. So we're all over the place. And then Bike to School Days was Wednesday, May 8th. I wanted to share, these are just some of the collateral that we shared. The bottom right is a sticker that kids got at Bike to School Day. And we had a hugely successful event. I mean, it was like our 3rd year doing it as a county. And we had nearly 3 times the number of kids that normal. So we get a pre-bike to school day count and a bike to school day count. So we kind of get their normal number and then the number on bike to school day. And so this chart is showing the number that biked on bike to school day and then the percentage increase. So you can see that the schools that are highlighted in red are schools that established bike trains where there was like a meetup spot where families would meet at a, there was a parent leader or sometimes a school staff leader, and they would bike to school in a big group. So you can really see for the most part, the schools that established bike trains, for the most part, there was a couple that, just maybe last minute established one. It didn't have a lot of participation, but for the most part, like huge jumps in the number of bicyclists where bike trains were established. It really helps to connect parents. We found doing this event 3 years in a row, bicycling is a great form of transportation. It's a way to get to school quickly from a longer distance than walking, but a lot of people aren't comfortable with it. But they get comfortable with it when they have company, because it's not just like the one parent being responsible for all their kids, and like they might have a flat tire and not know what to do. And it's just so good when you can get people to do it together. And schools where we encourage bike trains. A lot of times, some of the schools will have like enough adults where they can just say, just join, drop your kids off and it's good. And some schools will say, you know, parents must accompany the children or make sure you have another parent that's going to be responsible for your child. So schools can communicate that in whatever way they're comfortable with. And we're really trying to work on this more next year to help connect parents for bicycling. Of course, we're still encouraging walking, we're still encouraging all the other forms of active transportation and also alternative transportation, busing, carpooling. But the biking seems to be a barrier that we can overcome by really helping connect people. So this is just something we really learned through Bike to School Day. Great event. And these are just a few little pictures from Bike to School Day. This was in Santa Rosa. This is some of the bikes that got the bike stickers. The middle picture is a bike train to Santa Rosa Charter for the Arts. They met at D and Sonoma. That was that bike train. The upper right, I believe, is the Monroe Elementary bike train. The bottom left, I think it's San Miguel School bike train. And then the middle is Santa Rosa Charter for the Arts. They had a great bike train. And now I can't remember, is that Summerfield? I think this might be the Summerfield one too. So lots of really great shots of people biking together. And we were at the bike block party. I just wanted to share, this was the first event for the city of Santa Rosa, sponsoring along with Bikeable Santa Rosa, a really sweet event on what happened to be Bike to Work Day, May 16th, downtown, where they shut down the street between B Street and Mendocino on 4th Street and just had like tables and music, and we were there with our bike blender, and it was just a wonderful event. And we saw lots of kids from lots of schools and lots of families. We got to interact with them and talk about the Safe Routes program and talk about, you know, bicycling in Santa Rosa. So, you know, events like this, we do events like this at schools too. Like if a school has a family fun night or, you know, open house or back, you know, we'll go to a school and, you know, not necessarily bring the bike blender. Sometimes we'll do that, but at least have an outreach table. So, and community events as well. I wanted to call out also a student in Santa Rosa. One of our schools in Santa Rosa, Bankley Elementary School, at our encouragement, formed a AAA Student Safety Patrol. AAA has a program called Student Safety Patrols, and it basically is where students get to help with a number of things, but one of the things is drop-off pickup, and they can be out front of the school. They can help move cars along. They can help, you know, kids get in and out of cars, walk kids to the classroom. There was an amazing student at Binkley Elementary School. AAA has like a recognition program, and the teacher at that school nominated the student Jeffrey to be a student and model student safety patroller. And he actually won. So he was one of 10 winners in all of Northern California. The school earned a $2,000 grant from AAA, and which I think they're going to plan to use to support, you know, partially support their Safe Versus School program. We were just super impressed with Jeffrey, and we really love this program. It's not our program, it's AAA's program, but we really try to connect schools with it. And you know, it builds student leadership, and it also helps with that drop-off pickup nightmare. A lot of times parents can get mad at each other, you know, when they're dropping off and picking up, but when there's kids out there, you know, helping with it, they're like not gonna get as mad at the kids. So it really helps. So we really, again, encourage that. And then we had enrollment for Safe Routes to School next year for them during the month of April. We have our priority enrollment period during the month of April. So we had enrollment from every elementary school and the one middle school in Rankin Valley School District. We had all the schools in Wright District enroll. Strawberry Elementary enrolled in the Bennett Valley School District. Now we have a new school enrolled in Roseland District. Roseland Elementary has enrolled. Shepherd's been enrolled for a few years. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think 9 or 10 schools in Santa Rosa City Schools have enrolled so far. We still accept enrollment any time of the year. The priority enrollment is for when a school is requesting a limited service, like a bike rodeo, because we have to assess all the schools that are receiving the limited services now, so that we can start scheduling for next year. And we get pretty much the schedule is set by, you know, like October for the whole year. So we get, and actually like by now for, by June for, the fall rodeos. So the priority enrollment is important for those limited services, but schools can enroll any time of year. And we'll work with them and we'll do what we can to serve them with, safe routes programming. And schools actually don't have to enroll if they are just engaging with International Walk and Roll to School Day, Bike to School Day, or requesting like a service at one grade level. So they can just register for those events or email me for a service at one grade level. It's just when we do multiple grade levels and we're doing like encouragement programming on an ongoing basis that we need them to enroll because they have to collect data and, you know, they have some responsibilities to receive those services. So we need them to enroll for that. Okay, so the next slide was just about encouragement, successes and challenges, but I'm gonna actually stop the share because I don't know if we'll have enough people here for that, but we'll come back to it because the next thing on the agenda is actually Rob. And Rob, I believe you can share your screen, but if you can't share your screen for some reason, I think I can maybe make you a panelist. Let me just see. Try sharing your screen. If you can, I actually even have it. And you're muted, Rob.
Yeah, it won't let me share. It says disabled.
Okay, let me see if I can make you like a host. Okay, I'm making you a co-host. And now see if you can share. And if you can't, then I can just share it.
Yep, I think I got it.
All right, great.
Can you see the screen?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm gonna do a quick update for the city of Santa Rosa. I'm filling in for Alexander, so sorry if I'm not as polished as he is. This is kind of a last minute thing on our end. But anyway, so we've been doing a lot with some of the current transportation improvements throughout the city. I'll go over some of those. So a lot of our crosswalk improvements we've been working on. We got a grant last year through TDA Article 3 through MTC to install several of the rectangular rapid flashing beacons throughout the city. We've installed them at Sebastopol, Laurel Grove, Dutton, Funston. Those are both routes to schools. At Park Trail Summerfield is another route to school. Hohen and Sierra Creek. Over at North and Spencer, we are still waiting on a part, but that one's going to be installed relatively soon if it hasn't been done this week. And then similarly, with Mendocino at Howard, there's we're waiting for one part for that to be installed, but the foundations are done there. We've also are working on one at Pythian and Oak Trail, which is not related to school because that's in Oakmont, but that's another location that we've been installing. We're currently doing Dutton and West 8th Street. That's under construction right now and hope to finish that within the next week or so. We've installed one out with our encroachment team who are doing development projects at West College in Navarro to help get over to Binkley School. And we have one at 4th and Hope that was installed with a development project there, as well as Santa Rosa Avenue and Oak Street, which is we're almost finished with our Santa Rosa Avenue corridor plan, where we're installing some additional crossings there.
Rob, can I ask a quick question? When you
You may.
said West College and Navarro Street, was that Biella School?
Yeah,
or-
yeah. that's not-
I'm sorry, Biella, not Binkley. I'm sorry. That was the other B one, right? Yeah, Biella School. Sorry about that.
One other quick question. When you're doing the RRFBs, are you planning to do any kind of other like improvements like bulb outs or anything to shorten the crossing distances?
In some of the locations we are, and we're also looking at the striping to see if it needs to be modified as well to put in the higher intensity crosswalks and as well as the yield here, the ped markings. So we look at all those components. The bulb outs, I know the bulb outs are a very popular item, but what a lot of people don't recognize is that basically when you put a bulb out in, a lot of times you have to redo the entire drainage system in order to, because you're pushing a bulb out into the street that has actual a slope to it to get all the water to the gutter. So you're basically creating kind of a pond there for the water when you bulb the street out or when you bulb the sidewalk out. So they're not always as easy as just constructing it, you have to also look at all the drainage system that goes along with it. So where we can, we do, but in a lot of locations, we can't do that. And we don't really want to hold up the installation of the RFBs to get those out for a bulb out. So we're trying to get them out as quickly as we can. So a lot of the times we're not looking at redoing the entire drainage systems for that. Over switching gears over. Oh,
Can I have a question real quick before we move on?
absolutely.
Tina, when we had our walking audit, and Rob, I apologize, I don't remember if it was you or somebody else who was representing the city regarding in front of Jacobs Park and Lincoln on West 9th, they had discussed improving the crosswalk where we've had numerous issues. Is that something that is on the upcoming plan, or has that not been approved?
As far as installing a beacon?
Yes. I
So-
believe that's what was referred to, would have been the option.
So yeah, I haven't heard feedback on that one yet. When was that one
We
reviewed?
have that walk audit, Rob, in January, so it hasn't been that long, but at this point, I'll just say, Janine, we are all the projects that were identified in walk audits are in the reports, and then we're working on a spreadsheet to be able to, you know, have clear visibility of each project, that potential project that was identified in those reports, to be able to communicate back and forth between, you know, city planning and engineering and the Safe Routes program. So I don't know if that will help Rob to, you know, view the spreadsheet versus going into each individual report. 'Cause we've
Yeah,
done audits.
absolutely. Yeah, that will definitely help. And the other thing we do is then we'll also look at that installation versus all the other installations that we have on our list throughout the city and rank them accordingly. And obviously being next to a park and a school, it's going to have a higher ranking than a lot of the other ones, but there are some that might outrank it as far as so what we look at when we're ranking the locations, we look at the speeds, the number of approach lanes, the pedestrian generation near there, how much the crosswalks used, if it's on a high injury network, and the ADT, or the average daily traffic volume. So we're looking at a lot of different factors so that we can kind of grade each location on which is the most critical to install. And that's where this list that I have here currently came from, that list. And so we will insert the one at Lincoln into our overall list and see where it ranks. And then we'll just keep attacking the list as we get money available.
And I appreciate all that information, Rob, and it makes total sense. How would I be able to access information if and when it does get approved in like the upcoming timeline? Is there a meeting, or is there a website with this information, or would it be through these meetings?
I think it'd be through these meetings. We would let you know where things lie, but we're also collecting a lot of the other projects from a lot of the other schools as well. So we have to
Basically, what's the
prioritize
result of the audit walking
Yeah.
is basically what I'm getting at, kind of now that you have kind of what is that priority list type of thing, and where we fall, if at all, is
Yeah.
my question.
Yeah, and we need to get to that point. We're not quite to that point yet.
Okay,
Yeah,
great,
and
thank you.
definitely it's a priority for me to stay on top of all the projects that have been identified and stay in communication. So you can always reach out to me. I can talk to Alexander, you know, I can get an idea or a sense of where we're at any given time. You know, I may not have an answer, but at least we have the connection with the city to be able to, you know, find out status of things.
I appreciate, just because parents have asked about the results of that walking audit and if there was any updates, so I will pass on that information to them. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank
Great.
you. Rob, I'm sorry, one more question. When you say the drainage with the bulb outs, is that if it's just a concrete bulb out, or what about like the quick build type that
So
they're doing?
yeah, the quick ones with the delineators, those don't affect the drainage. So
Yeah.
those are, yeah, those ones.
I was just gonna put a plug in for one of those at North and Spencer. That is such a wide crossing. Just put a plug in, but I'm sure there's other crossings that would really benefit from those as well. If you don't have to do the drainage piece, then it still shortens the crossing and. super.
Absolutely.
Okay, moving, I'm sorry,
Great.
Rob.
No,
All
no
those in-
problem. That's it. No, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm here to help answer questions. So if you have them, bring them on. So some of the improvements we have made recently are over at the crosswalk at Finley and South Wright Road, as well as we've added the west leg crosswalk at Sebastopol and West, and that's a signalized intersection. So we're actually able to add the pedestrian crossing ahead. That was supposed to be coordinated with the project that's going in the Roseland Village area. But we saw the need with the Boys and Girls Club to install that ahead of time. So we got that installed as well. So now there's all 4 legs of that intersection at the signal have pedestrian crosswalks. So then just an update on some upcoming signal installations that we have. So our installation at Santa Rosa Avenue and Bellevue, that is actually related to the school there. That has met warrants. It's currently in design. We're looking at designing it as a protected intersection. So this will be one of our first full protected intersections that we're incorporating into the design of the signal. And then at Hearn and Burbank, we also have a signal going in there. Currently, there's an RRFB at that location, and we're upgrading that to a signal. And part of that is to help with the school traffic related to the traffic on Burbank and at Roseland Creek School. Another project we have in the Southwest area that's we'll be adding a lot of pedestrian facilities and bike facilities is a Hearn interchange project. So this project is currently the overcrossing at this location has very minimal sidewalk and a shoulder basically for both bikes and peds. The upgrade to this location will actually have protected bike lanes on both sides, as well as a class 4 bikeway on the south side, or on the south side of the street, as well as sidewalk on both the north and south side. So this will be a drastic improvement to the current ped and bike facilities on this section. In conjunction with that, we have a project that will be following the interchange project that will add a class 4, which class 4 is a separated bikeway, a class 4 path from the intersection of Corby, and you can see that on this little signal up here. If you can see my arrow, I hope you can. From this location over to the multi-use path that SMART's constructed. So there'll be a multi-use path all the way to connect to the SMART multi-use path. So, and then this is just going to go over a couple of the walking audits that we've done, and Alexander has a lot more information on this. So I'm sorry, I don't have all the information for each of the locations, other than these are the locations of the walking audits that we've done over the last several months. Sequoia, Wright Charter, Austin Creek, Lincoln, Brook Hill, JX Wilson, Helen Lehman, Quantum Springs, Steele, and we just did Monroe earlier this month. And then some of the concerns, and this is again just generalizing the concerns, not necessarily for each of these locations, but that vehicles are traveling too fast during pickup and school times and drop off. That the crosswalks are not always comfortable for the children, and I hadn't been on these audits, but I know that at some locations the kids cross where the crossing guard is, and at other locations they don't cross where the crossing guard is. So I want to encourage people to use the crossing guards where they are available. Also, that a lot of locations don't have bike facilities that aren't comfortable for parents and children. So we're looking at that throughout the city, and with our active transportation plan update, we're looking at making all our bike facilities more comfortable for all users. So we're working on that, and that's actively in process right now. Also, just looking at drivers obeying different regulatory devices like stop signs, no U-turns, those types of things, and that there's a need for improvement at some of the drop-off locations and pickup locations throughout all the districts and throughout the schools. Things have changed. Well, everyone knows things have changed over the years, from busing to single car pickup and drop off, and most of the schools weren't designed for that, for the single pickup and drop off. So we're dealing with old infrastructure, not only at schools, but in the city as well.
I had
And
a quick,
then, yes,
sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so how did you come up with these schools, and can we add our school?
I will
That's
answer.
a question for, yeah, Tina
Oh,
or
Yeah,
Christina.
So we actually, when we started the audits for the first 3 audits, we, maybe actually the first 4, we just were taking requests. And then as we, kind of learned and, how, what we really, worked our goals out for this program, we worked with the city to create a priority list of schools in the entire city of Santa Rosa based on data. So like crash statistics and, traffic volumes and demographics and things like that. So we actually created a ranked list of schools for the entire city of Santa Rosa, which I think started with the Layman audit, but JX Wilson ended up having scheduling before that. It was also, oh, no, it started with the JX Wilson audit. But Lincoln and Brook Hill would have been high on the list, actually, if they had been if they had been ranked when we did the rankings. So it kind of worked out that after Austin Creek, we did Lincoln and Brook Hill. So anyway, our list is a ranked list. Our next 10 schools for next year are pretty set. Because of the rankings, and also a secondary factor is we're getting funding through the Department of Public Health to audit schools with that are in their priority development areas. So some of the schools next year, the next 10 schools are Comstock, Slater, Taylor Mountain Elementary, R.L. Stevens, Montgomery High School, Luther Burbank Elementary, Cesar Chavez Language Academy, Santa Rosa Middle School, Roseland Elementary, and Meadowview Elementary. And of those schools, Comstock, Slater, Taylor Mountain, R.L. Stevens, Luther Burbank, Santa Rosa Middle, and Meadowview are in the public health service areas. So we're gonna get some funding from public health for that. Hidden Valley is on the list, Lynn. It's a little farther down. It's quite a bit far down. That doesn't mean that you cannot express a specific concern about your site. Share it in an email, share it with me, really probably the best person to share it with, so we can communicate it with the city and see there may be improvements already in the works in that area for other reasons, not because of the audits. It may be something that could be addressed by the police department or by Public Works, or it may be something that's going to be far down the list. So don't let the fact that your audit is like 2 years from now
when we're out of school.
stop you from sharing a concern, because basically our intent is to methodically continue to audit schools
I
and
hope so.
societies. So
Yeah.
it'll be like when we get through the first, and there's 55 schools and we can only do about 10, maybe 12 at the most a year, probably more like 10. So it's going to take a few years, but then we'll rotate back, and we're just gonna, the intent is to just keep doing this and keep the connection between the city and schools going.
I hope so, because Shanae is just like, that's why when you see it's one bike rider, but we had 24, it's, I live up in Fountain Grove, so we're dealing with people, and then we hit Shanae, so it's like the 2 busiest streets. So
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, sometimes some schools, I don't know. I mean, we'll have to look and see what's even feasible, because sometimes, it's not feasible to make a particular road bikeable. But, sometimes it is, and there's, creative solutions that can happen in the short term or in the very long term, but we still want to identify what the potential solutions are, because, we're not, generations from now, we can fix those. I mean, I'd love to fix it all in like the next year, but it takes time and money. And the most important thing is that we are continually identifying these concerns and coming up with the solutions and keeping in communication with the city to make sure that schools are, identified and prioritized. So that was a very long explanation. I will post the audit. I kind of updated it. It changes. Let me actually share it really quick. I think I have it open. I to. Give me 1 second here. And I can post this to the Safe Routes to School Task Force page. So I update this every month because sometimes things change. Like we have to do one school over another because, I don't know, there was a crash near it, or, you know, there was a project being done near it, but we have, this is our priority list. These schools were the ones that were done after we did the ranking, the top schools, and the schools that were done earlier, they're down at the bottom of the list. But the schools that are bolded are the schools that we are planning to hit next year, and we'll be scheduling. So just a heads up to anyone, you know, Santa Rosa City Schools, there's quite a few schools in your district that we're gonna audit next year. And we really, I know Patty, you won't be here, but that connection, because the principals, if we're not working with that school, if we're not like doing a Safe Routes program, they don't even know what this is. Like I'll email them and I'll be like, we're doing it on, and they're like, I don't know who you are or what, you know. So we have to get that scheduled. We want the principal there. We want, you know, some parents there. We want the public works, you know, planner or engineer there. We'd love to have the police department at every audit whenever we can. It's so valuable to have law enforcement educating the people that are there about what is feasible, and also, you know, just you know, sharing ideas, because sometimes creative ideas come up. So those are what's planned for next year. And but again, it's possible something like Shepherd could be moved up, you know, to replace Montgomery High School, you know, if there's a need to do like Roseland and Shepherd next year. But that's the intent for next year. Then you can see Hidden Valley is 41 on the list. I'm sorry. That's just where it is, but we will get there. We will get there. Any other questions or concerns about the audit list? And again, you can always ask me for this list. I'll post it. I'll try to remember to post it. This May list, but again, it can change. So I don't want to, that's the reason I haven't posted it up on the website. All right, any other questions or comments about Rob's presentation? Oh, Amber's here. Amber, actually, Amber, I'm putting you on the spot. It's okay. Amber Williams from Steele Lane is here. And Rob, I don't want to put you on the spot, Amber, but one of the things we didn't include this in the presentation, Rob, but right now there is a pilot project happening in front of Steele Lane Elementary School where they took, actually, can you describe the pilot project?
Yeah. So we reduced the travel lanes from 4 to 3. So we have only one lane now that currently merges in the westbound direction in front of the school to allow for, we're doing a pilot project to see what that effect would be on traffic and for pickup and drop off in front of the school. So that's going on right now until the end of the school year. And so far we've gotten a lot of positive comments on it.
We also saved a student. So there was a student that eloped from a classroom about 2 weeks ago and ran into that front part of up to the white cone area. And then that's when the adult was there. But if that lane was not that blocked off how it is, it would have had the potential for a different scenario to occur that day.
Another screen.
So it gives the school like 20 more feet to kind of, like, I don't want kids to ever make it out there, but like, and we're doing some remedies to that and that area of the annex. So it's like not the main door for my side's the campus, but where the annex is for the preschool. And so we're gonna be putting a gate in front of that, but it did help that, making sure that kid was safe that day, so. That's
Great.
awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know, like, as we do walk audits, like it's possible that other pilot projects could be identified, or, you know, a school might have an idea for a pilot project, and even if it's not an audit, that like, you please let us no, it's not, you know, the city is wanting to work with schools to identify what improvements can be done, you know, in the short term to see what will work, kind of thing. So, we get requests like that and we can consider them. Another thing that was mentioned at that audit, Amber, I don't know if the district has thought about this, but one of the things that we talked about at the Steele Lane audit was the possibility of like improving the drop-off zone and having, like, instead of having drop-off in front of the school, like having the district improve, like creating a path like behind the school around this circumference, or sort of not the whole, like a U-shaped path in the field behind the school. So that would be like a district facilities. So that's in the audit report, and like we, the hope is that the district is also looking at these reports and like looking at like what can the district do to improve the situation and make it safer for kids as they develop their long-term, you know, facilities plans. So thank you so much for being here, Amber. And if you have any other, we have the next, well, actually, before we go to the next item on the agenda, I wanted to give the Santa Rosa Police Department an opportunity to share anything that they have been working on in relation to safe routes to school, or, you know, ask any questions or make any suggestions.
Yeah, so last month we started our Tuesday traffic reports, and I don't know if any of you caught it, but we actually included a little shout out to Safe Routes to School and included your contact information. So trying to do that. One of the videos we did talked about bus safety and what you should do when the bus puts the stop sign out, you know, going in both directions. And so for the summertime, you know, with school being out, it gets a little busy in other areas for us, but I think when school gets back in session, a lot of our videos will be back focusing on kind of school safety and like you talk about, like how to maneuver when you're dropping off your students, you know, watch out for the little ones who are walking and riding their bikes to school. So that's kind of what we have going on. So I don't really have much else to report, but we're gearing up for a busy summer. So that's where we're at.
Well, that's great that you have videos. So are those shared through Instagram or Facebook or on your website?
Yes, I think they might be on YouTube as well, but they are Instagram and Facebook. So every
Okay.
Tuesday, doing what we call our Tuesday traffic reports, and you know, we have a little intro music, and then Officer John Fisher he's kind of the face of it, and so we ask people to send in their questions or topics that they want to talk about. So we're trying to make it interesting and kind of talk about events coming up. So if you have anything that you want to, you know, be discussed, kind of traffic related, just send it to me and I can, we'll put something together and send it out.
Great. Another thing I was thinking, Summer, is if you're sharing a school related video, if you tag Sonoma Safe Routes when you share it,
Okay.
then we'll see that you've shared it and then I can reshare it. And then my schools that are following me, and maybe hopefully the Santa Rosa schools are following you too, but I have definitely some parents, I think Lynn is one of them, who follows, and Brad that follows Instagram. So that way, you know, they're seeing that from me because they're already following that. So just, you know, the more shares we get, the better of like anything like that. So
good. Yeah. I don't do the videos. I mean, I coordinate them, but I will definitely tell our public information officer who puts them together to do that.
Sonoma Safe Routes is our tag.
Perfect.
Could I ask a question?
Yeah.
Sorry, Brad Coscarelli, I'm over at Hidden Valley with Miss Lynn over here. Rob, I'm not sure if this is you or Summer, I apologize. Is that first name or last name?
Summer Gloeckner, yeah.
Okay. We're right on Sinead, and you know how fast people come down Sinead. And you know, they're probably doing double the speed limit. We've asked for one of those trailers that you drop off where it's just a radar, you know, where it shows people's speed as they come down. That is hugely helpful. We've done that in the past. I just haven't had much luck this year. So I don't know who I would go to, but if we can just get that, maybe.
Shoot me an email. I can try to prioritize that because that radar trailer is like a highly requested thing.
Is it?
get a ton of
Okay.
requests. Our volunteers actually put it out. So, since you're here at the meeting and taking the time to ask me, just if you can shoot me an email,
Okay.
it's Gloeckner@srcity.org.
And Gloeckner, is that right?
That's correct.
Gloeckner. S. Gloeckner.
I have a similar, like, situation at Steele Lane, because like people drive like they're on the freeway on Steele Lane in front of the school, and
Right.
I understand like that when we did the walking audit, they explained that like during school, it's not during school hours, it's actually when kids are present, so like at drop off and pickup. But in that crosswalk area that's right in front of my school, often people are running through the yellow lights or, not stopping like back where they're supposed to and getting very close to the crosswalk. Like the lady who does the crosswalk is, she's pretty amazing that she maneuvers all that, but like myself, I've almost died there like 10 times since I've been principal. It's just like very unsafe, and I don't have a great solution because I'm not a city planner, but like my vision or my hope would be that like we could do some education to our community with like some sort of, they explain this at the walking audit, like some enforcement where it's like training enforcement. So it's like pull over, but not ticketing, moving into pulling over, ticketing, and then moving over to hopefully we've changed some behavior so that that's not happening anymore. But there has been in the past couple weeks, I've seen more police officers riding through, but like often it's not to do any of that kind of work. And I think just physically being there sometimes, and I know you're super busy and I know that there's very few of you to go around. I understand all those things. I just like, it's not a safe street to have a school on under the current circumstances.
So what I can do is I can ask our motor sergeant to do some extra enforcement, especially now that we're getting towards the end of the school year. And we do have the ability to write warning citations, so not everybody has to get a regular citation, go to court. We have that option. Also, we have the officers who patrol that area during school hours, so I can reach out to them because you're in what we call beat 2. Beat 2 is where your school falls in. So our beat 2 officers, I can talk to them about maybe doing some extra enforcement now that like you're bringing this directly to my attention. And we're limited in how, we get requests from all over, but again, I'm more than willing to talk to them and talk to our motor sergeant to get some extra bodies out there for a little bit.
Summer, we joke, the principals will say, kind of like Amber, we know you're spread thin, so even though we would love an officer, sometimes we'll say, give us your oldest beat up, car, and we'll just park it out there, right? Don't get rid of them, don't sell them. Yep. We'll buy them, right?
Yeah.
And I'll just park it out there. So
slow down.
And I'm just wondering, Summer, is there like I don't know, do you have like a schedule or a prioritization of schools for doing like extra enforcement operations or like the special, is there any kind, because I know like Steele Lane, for example, every school wants officers, like every school is like, it's every speed, like there's not one school that I probably talked to that would not say that, but there are definitely schools where it is genuinely dangerous. So,
right.
like, where is this police department doing any kind of prioritization of that?
I think if you could send us the, like you did with the walking audits, the priority list, and then, what I mean, we can kind of do like with your walking audits, like a rotating type of schedule with them. We could do for sure.
Would probably be, we can work with Alexander and Rob too, just to kind of make sure, because like Steele Lane is way up on that list, Helen Lane is on the list, Monroe Elementary, which is on a very busy street that a lot of, drivers, so that list. I know Hidden Valley obviously is far down that list, but that doesn't mean, that's also probably, I don't know, maybe because
their drop-off's not.
their drop-off's not on the main street, so that might be what brought that down a little bit.
anything you can do, we appreciate it. You know
We
that.
can have the principals arm wrestle for, that
Well, Amber would be.
per hour. So
But
I
for
mean, we already
sure-
know who
but
would
for
win that.
sure-
that
I
arm
gotta
wrestle.
go, but thank you, Summer.
the
Thank
vote's
you.
on Amber.
Tina, thank
For
you.
sure-
Okay,
For
bye
sure,
guys.
Summer, I'll send you that list and then we can maybe just keep talking,
Well,
as
yeah.
forward.
And that sounds good too. Then I can actually, like, when we do enforcement, I can give you kind of what our results were
Yeah,
at in those areas and stuff. So yeah, so that would be good. Just send me what you have. Be perfect.
I will. And then also when it comes to the next 10 audits, I mean, again, I know that you can't always be there, but it does really help too.
Yeah.
Because you're then educating the principal and the parents at that school who are concerned about what is feasible and realistic, in terms of enforcement.
I think we're gonna try to rotate some of our officers through those, some of our motor officers.
That would be great. It doesn't have to be you. It could be any officer.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And summer
Great.
school will be happening at Steele Lane, so
Summer
it's-
school.
school is out, but
Yeah, but
it's
there'll
not out
still
for a
be-
whole other month.
Got it.
Okay. Good.
All right.
Thank Thank you.
Okay, so next on the agenda is just, I want to talk a little bit about walk and roll encouragement initiatives, even though I only have Hidden Valley here today as in terms of the school that's implementing encouragement and Brad just had to pop off. But I did want to mention, that one thing that we're considering for next year and maybe even get Lynn's feedback and just, I don't know, even Amber's feedback on this, since even though you're not doing necessarily encouragement, because of Bike to School Day and we realizing like the benefit of connecting parents for walking and biking together. And one of the ideas we had for next year is like in September, we usually have a map your route to school challenge. And I'm thinking of, I'm wanting to change that to like I have to think of a catchy title. So if anyone comes up with one here, let me know. But I was thinking, I think this morning came up with like map and meet up with friends challenge or map and meet, something where you're encouraging families to look at their route to school, but also look at who they can walk and bike with together. And then, getting that promotion out, getting that, like having some kind of incentive for families to do that. To try to pick their route, to try to connect for walking and biking together, whether it's a school connection of a walking school bus. And have that happen early in the year. And then International Walk and Roll School Day obviously is like the big launch event for walk and roll. And hopefully people have connected before that event. So anyway, that's an idea I had. I just wanted to put it out there. We are probably keeping most of our encouragement challenges and themes the same next year, but that's the only sort of one that I was thinking of changing. So since you're here, Lynn, or does anybody have any thoughts about that? Or do you think that's an idea that even like Amber, you would not doing walk and roll? Would you even like be interested in sharing information with parents about doing walking and rolling together? I mean, again, I know you're not.
I know,
Steel Lane is just not a place where
it's
you're.
not a
encouraging
place
walking.
for us to walk and roll
Yeah.
to school.
Yeah.
Where kids live and where they come from and how they get to school and our community that we serve is just not something that is necessarily possible for a good majority of our campus, so it's challenging. They're coming through areas that are not safe, so I would not want to encourage that.
Lynn, did you have any thoughts?
The first I want to say one of my favorite ones was a new one this year was the wacky winter. Oh, now I forget how you,
Well,
yeah, say it again. I did.
Wacky winter walk and roll where you could like wear wacky gear and
Yeah, because it was the bright colors in the winter time, and so you were visible and seen. That was a huge hit. I love that one. I know as far as with the mapping, I know for people they were kind of vague because of where they lived. They were worried of, giving out too much information.
Yeah. So
That
maybe you turn in the
where-
map. Yeah.
Right. So that's the only thing of a lot of kids and teachers we're talking about. So that's
great feedback because we don't have to have them actually turn in the map. We can just encourage them to like do a map and then just say, I did it. Like,
right.
yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's great feedback. Any other feedback about your successes or areas of improvement for next year with encouragement?
Christina, I'm sorry to interrupt. I have to get going.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, so we'll see you at the next one.
All right.
Thank you, Summer.
Bye, guys. Thanks.
Okay, well, I will just go ahead and wrap that one up unless, Lynn, you have something else you want to share.
I was saying that what we did, you know, is with because I'm on the PFO or PTA. And so we would get it out for our school a Facebook site. And then, you know, we would put flyers in the teachers' boxes. We would email with the teachers, parent square with Brad. We would set up the table and pass out the information that way. I know also real quick, the DHH loved with the bike rodeo that you guys did, you guys might do another one for our DHH. And so that was wonderful. And that was another thing that was new for them.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a special needs kids.
Included, yeah.
Yeah, we were able to include special needs kids at every site. We really work with every site to identify who we can serve in the 4th grade and how we can accommodate kids with special needs, whether it's a special bike that they bring, or like we can do some minor modifications to our own bikes. But yeah, we definitely had a lot of special needs kids in our rodeos all over the county this year.
Yeah. That was amazing. They felt seen, heard, you know, so it was great.
Awesome. Okay, well, the only other thing I wanted to kind of tackle today is just talking about next year's task force. And Patty, I'll just love your feedback. Amber, I would love your feedback. Rob, I'd love your feedback. So this year we scheduled meetings. Our pilot was, we did 4 meetings in the fall and 4 in the spring, and we rotated from area to area, and we really tried to open the meetings up to parents and schools. And what we found out was that parents don't come to these meetings. We tried doing them at different times. They just don't come. We had a few parents. I mean, Lynn is here today, and we maybe had one parent come
One
maybe
per
at per
meeting,
meeting. Even though like we put a lot of effort into promoting and the school. So I don't want to put that burden on schools to continually like share out something that they're sharing so many other things. But what we found was really valuable is when we had principals show up at the meetings. They could talk to the city directly. They could talk to each other about their programming. It was a learning experience, but we don't feel like the burden on principals shouldn't be like twice a year max. So our plan for next year, if everyone thinks this is a good idea, and again, your feedback is great, is to do 1 meeting in the fall and 1 meeting in the spring. The question is what month and what day and what time of day is generally best. Sarah and I have been meeting with our schools and kind of asking. What I've heard so far is October and March and not spring break week. Could be good, and like maybe Friday late mornings, but I know there's only 2 of you here, but any thoughts or any feedback on that from you two, but would be welcome. And then we'll just be asking all our principals and trying to make decisions, and we'll get it scheduled and we'll send invitations like now, like as soon as we get it on the books, we'll just get them out so that you have them on your calendars. And then obviously things come up last minute and you might not be able to make it, but if we can get a good group of principals together. And of course, if there's a parent champion that wants to join us, wonderful. But I don't want to put a burden on schools to get the word out about these task force meetings. People can find out about them. You know, they can be posted and on the city website or on the Safe Routes website, but I just don't think it's working to get them out through schools.
I think if you could, for elementary principals, before like noon is helpful, because
Okay.
most of the stuff that happens at lunchtime and at recess, and then it takes up the whole rest of your day.
Yeah.
Before that March time, like in March, is helpful because April and May
Yeah.
become like wild and out. So,
Yeah,
so
so early March, maybe like,
I don't know if Fridays would be best because you're
Okay.
trying to like kind of wrap up a week and
Yeah.
make you know, tie up some loose ends.
Maybe Thursdays,
Thursday or
too,
Wednesday, I
yeah.
think are better, because Mondays and Tuesdays are,
Yeah,
Tuesdays is my hardest day, it's weird.
I'm thinking third,
Yeah,
oh, I was
like-
thinking Friday because of one principal said, but again, based on your feedback, and I'm sure we'll get
Yeah, I feel like that.
Thursday, maybe like 9, like is 10 better than that? Like, I'm just trying to think
I'm
of like,
thinking 9 only because then the
9?
recess starts
That's
to
right.
many of the
9
schools.
to 10.
And
Yeah.
it depends on what time for. each of
Yeah,
the
if you do
schools.
it at 9, you're gonna be able to be done before.
Yeah, before, oh,
Primary
that's good.
recess.
And
Can
we
we
might
recess?
be able to, you may make it an hour, well, I mean, it just depends how much people want to talk about.
Maybe
what they're doing.
9:30 to
Like I
11.
have the hour and a half time frame to allow for those discussions.
Yeah.
Right.
But if it's just like a quick sharing out
If
of.
I'm being honest, an hour and a
Yeah.
half is a long time.
It is a
So
long time, I know.
45 minutes to an hour would be
Okay,
a
all
better
right, well,
fit.
we could do that, I mean, I wanna make it, I just want these meetings to be productive, but I really wanna keep the connection between the city and the schools and the Safe Routes program. I want there to be an anchor for that, we're gonna do the audits, and that will be continuing to like do those connections, but having a place where the city can share what they're planning, and for schools to ask the city, hey, what's going on with it, you know, like directly.
I think too, like when you're working with the city is like, and the police department is like, you need like an info sheet to principals, so like when things come up, like who
Yeah,
do you contact? Like
yeah.
sometimes, like I've just learned that just by calling everybody I can until
Yeah.
somebody listens to me, but like, not, you know, if you have a new principal in a role, they're not gonna know that.
That's great, we can
And
do
so
that.
just like some sort of like, if you had something happen with your crosswalk in front of your school and something's like, who do you call?
Yeah, 'cause
And like, just so they have like a little info sheet to be able to do that.
for sure, and Rob, we can work, I can work with Alexander to, because I know that there's.
Yeah.
Like easy, like with broken crosswalk light, that's like my Santa Rosa app, like just
Yeah.
put it in, and there's like bigger concerns could be, talk to the planner, talk to the
Yeah.
engineer.
Comes to traffic engineering typically, yeah.
So we can work on that, that's a great idea, I
Yeah.
love it.
The one question I have is 2 meetings, I mean, I'm thinking that 2 meetings might not be enough, because if all your eggs are in that basket and then people can't make it because something comes up, do you want another opportunity for people to, or am I thinking of it the wrong way?
I was gonna say every 2 months, but I'm thinking like Rob, maybe the three
Three,
and dividing it, maybe if it's October, maybe one in January and then one in April or,
well,
yeah,
April would work,
yeah.
okay, I mean, I'm fine with 3, I just, again, don't. And if, I'm fine with 3, if the city's fine with 3, and the schools are fine, what I wanna do is invite all the principals to all the meetings. I was avoiding doing that this year, because I'm like, we were focusing on getting parents and district staff to these meetings, and then I just didn't want to like invite 30 principals to a meeting that, you know, like, it just felt wrong. But if we're just doing 3 here, maybe that's okay, or 2. So you think 3?
Yeah.
Rob, you think
And you
3?
know, yeah.
I'm thinking 3, and then also with the invites, I know the invites will go out, but if there can be an update, like an agenda with maybe what specifically is going to be discussed, so then the principals know if that's something that they
Yeah,
have a vested interest in hearing about, or I don't know, I'm just, that always helps me decide, like when I have 3 meetings at one time, well, which one do I go to? So I need to pick.
I mean, agendas have been fairly general, because it's not, like. But yeah, we can think about that too, especially if there's something the city wants to specifically report or get feedback on from a certain area, then we can make sure that's highlighted
Sure.
on the agenda. For sure. Okay, well, we will look at those dates and we will continue talking. We're having all our end of year meetings with all our principals between now and mid-June, and so we'll be talking to each one of them individually, getting that feedback. I'm already thinking in my head 9 to 10 on Thursdays and those 3 months, but we'll figure it out, and we'll get some dates in the calendar and get those out to everybody, hopefully before the end of June. The only other thing, again, Rob, and I'll be talking to Alexander about getting some dates for availability for like August and September for the audits that I want to get on the calendar. I don't want to wait till August to reach out to those
Sure.
schools, reach out now, but I'll reach out to Alexander about that.
Yep.
Perfect. So thank you so much, everybody. And have a great rest of your day, and we'll be in touch.
Thanks.
Amber, I want to say you are a fantastic principal. Couple
Thank
of us still remember you from being our vice principal. Wish you were still with us, and we still talk about how wonderful you are.
Thank you.
Miss you.
Thank you for saying that.
Oh, no, you are. You are fantastic. I tell everyone, because we're in the Alps meetings that I've had with you, and I'm like, guess what they're doing at Still Lane? Guess what she's doing? So you're fantastic. I want to know if I can shoot you a couple emails. You know, we're trying to get Brad to do a couple of assemblies. Bullying, racism, inclusivity. I mean, things are happening, and we need to start it at elementary school. And I would love your support.
I'm trying my best.
Okay.
I know.
Thank
I
you
know.
so much.
Christina,
Bye.
you too. I love you.
Yeah, we love you too. See you
Bye,
tomorrow.
guys.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.